Like if the tasks aren't getting done to satisfaction after you've trained them, after you've educated them, and after you've taught them how to do it and it's still not getting done, like what else can I do? Hey everybody, it's Will with Military Lawn Cuts, where we've done $630,000 in annual revenue at our first location and just opened up our second location and growing very, very quickly here. And what I want to share with you and express and talk about is specifically employees, okay? So this is targeted for business owners that have 5, 10, 15 plus employees that are going through the growing pains of how to be a good leader. So I am going to share with you a real life experience that I have dealt with, and hopefully this sheds some light on what good leadership looks like, because I want to share this information with you guys because I wish that I had this type of content when I was growing, because I didn't know how to be a good leader. My background being in the military was just go out there with a knife hand and start yelling and telling them exactly what to do. Like if the tasks aren't getting done to satisfaction after you've trained them, after you've educated them, and after you've taught them how to do it and it's still not getting done, like what else can I do, right? So like, take it from me and learn from me. I have made a lot of mistakes when dealing with employees. I've criticized people in public in front of the entire group. Don't do that. If there's an issue, you always pull them aside, talk to them one-on-one. You do it in private. You praise in public, you criticize in private. I learned that very, very quickly, and one of my team members communicated and expressed that you don't do that, and I learned from that mistake. But all that to say, I have made plenty of those types of mistakes along the way over the last 4 years of growing very, very quickly to now 10 employees that work directly for us. So learn from my mistake so that way you don't have to handle that. So what I want to specifically talk about is when you're actually out in the field, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 5 employees, or even you're looking at potentially hiring a team member. So there are 3 main categories anytime there's an issue. And when let's define what an issue is. When I say there's an issue, I mean, okay, you hired a team member, you put them through your PowerPoints, orientation, you train them out in the field properly, you've got them to good satisfactory to where they know what they need to do, they know how to execute, but yet down the road, there's still complaints coming down the pipe, there's still situations or issues that are happening, that just things aren't getting done the way that you taught them. And you know at this point that it's not a lack of training. Like most of the time, initially, if that's the problem, it is because of lack of training. And then what you would do is just go back and retrain them. You say, okay, you know what? Take extreme ownership for the issue. I took him through orientation, I took him through training, but you know what? Maybe he needs a little bit more training. So I am going to go out there and spend an extra day, extra time, making sure that he does know what the job entails and training him a little bit more, right? So that's phase 1. Now phase 2 is going to be, okay, if we know 1000% you've gone back, you've retrained that individual, you know he knows what they need to do as far as executing the job properly, right? And then again, it's still not getting done to satisfaction. Well, then there's 2 other categories that you have to look at. So the second category is, okay, is this a lack of ability? Because it could be, maybe their knee is injured, maybe their ankle is injured, and maybe if you have a set number of lawns that they need to do a day and they're not meeting that criteria, again, maybe it's an ability issue. But if it's something more simple or basic to where it's like, hey, we need to weed eat around the fence, and the weed eating is not getting done around the fence. You've already gone back, you've trained, you've already done retraining. Okay, you know they have the ability to weed eat around the weed eater. Then the third category would be lack of care, or basically, yeah, that lack of care, or being content, complacent, some type of you can put laziness in that category, but some type of lack of care there. So the first one is, let's recap this: lack of training, lack of ability, and lack of care or laziness. Those are the three categories that I will identify if there is constant issues with a particular team member that is not excelling after the training and all of that stuff. So then what I would do in that scenario is just basically sit down with them. There may be some write-ups that would occur because if it's not a lack of training and it's not a lack of ability, the only other option is going to be laziness or lack of care. And I can't train that or fix that. So what we need to do is get a self-correction plan or a performance improvement plan, a PIP, in place so that way we can improve that type of behavior. And at the end of the day, if it gets better, great. If it doesn't, then we need to get somebody else into that organization that can fulfill in a good quality of manner. Now, in a particular scenario, I'm going to share a real life experience with myself and how you can learn of what to do and what not to do from me. Because again, like I said, I've made a lot of mistakes. So this particular team member, I'm not going to name any names, just in the past that was working with us, and great team member, really great team member. And he was with us for a while, like longer than what a typical team member generally stays here at Military Lawn Cuts. So been around a while, right? You could say that they were probably one of our veterans at that time. Now, I was actually out on a route with them, running the route. We were, I think, mowing lawns that day, and so what I found is, and this particular team member, again, would get generally more slips or yellow slips than other people on our team. But with that scenario, so I noticed when we were out there mowing lawns that the quality was not to what the level that it really needs to be. So instead of me being my military background, hey, you need to go back and weed eat behind the AC unit, or you need to go back and weed eat behind the bush, I approached it in a very childlike curiosity, subtle approach. And I just said, hey, do you mind going back and just touching that area up just a little bit more? And yeah, okay, awesome, thanks. So that was the first time. So the second time, I did the same thing. There was something else that was missed, and I said, hey, do you mind touching up those areas? I think we could do a little bit better job. Okay, he goes back, fixes it up, things like that. Okay, so this happened 5 times, okay? Mind you, I am the owner out on the property with my employee, and 5 times I have to remind him to touch areas up on the lawn. So, and again, we've already gone down this. It's not due to training. This individual was a veteran who had been with us for a very long time. Number 2, it's not ability, because the individual has mowed tons and tons of lawns. So number 3, it does come down to laziness or being content. So all that to say is, after a while, after like the 5th time, I noticed that they were getting a little like upset with me. I was like keep nagging them on these little things, but they weren't little things, because I've been doing this for 4 years. I know what the customer is going to complain about, and I, opening 2 locations, do not have the time to go back and fix these issues with you. So I'm going to do it right the first time while we're on the property. So what I did is, when we got back in the truck, I said, hey, look, we are on, and this is the leadership that I would recommend and suggest to you. I said, hey, look, I said, you and I said, we're on the same team. I want what's best for you, and I hope that you would want what's best for me. I said, while we're out here on this team, the better that we do, the more success that you and I have together will make us both better. And just like I hold you accountable on things that I see that the customer will complain about because I've been doing this a while. I know what they're going to complain about, and I don't have time to come back and fix these slips. Just like I hold you accountable for that, I would hope that you do the same for me. Just because I'm your boss, just because I'm your supervisor, doesn't mean that you can't come and tell me when I'm wrong. In fact, I encourage you to do that. And I will listen with an open mind and a humbleness and a coaching and a willingness to learn because I want to hear your feedback. I'm here to help and serve you. The better we do, the more money we're going to make. The less times we have to come back to this property to fix things, the more money you and I are going to make. We're on the same team. I'm not doing this to nag you. And I think after I communicated that effectively to him, I think that particular individual really I think it opened up in his mind and was like, oh man, okay, you're right. Maybe I was kind of missing a couple things. Maybe I do need to just be a little bit better attention to detail. And at the end of the day, we are on the same team. So hopefully this type of content helped you guys. If it did, please just hit the like button. Leave me a comment below. If you have any other recommendations, suggestions, I'm always open to learning. And guys, my name is Will. I'm with Military Lawn Cuts. We'll see you next time.